You need to pretend this is the bottom of the trailer. Normally speaking, my other trailer, and it's easier to build that way, is you would build your box so the outside dimensions are 4 foot by 8 foot, and you would put a piece of plywood over the box on the bottom and screw this all in. And then you would flip that part over and build the box on top of it. But that is the simplest way to do it, and then you know what your measurements are, because I extended this out by 3/4, which left me a place here, which I'm just going to put a hardwood square piece of wood in there and paint these, and it won't really matter. But the easiest way to build this would be to just build your frame on the plywood, level with the plywood, and everything's 4 by 8, 4 by 8, 4 by 8, and then all you'd have to do is take off the width of this on each side to make these 2 by 4 framing members. I did make an error in my measurements on this box, and you get the good with the bad. And what happened was I measured these ends from the old ones, but the old one, the plywood was flush with the plywood on the bottom, and it's the easiest way to do. The reason I wanted to move it out was it would protect the plywood on the floor, but my lawnmower will not fit in my old box, and the deck actually gets up on top of this 2 by 4, and that's the only way you can do it. And without the brace in the middle, I could just manhandle the thing and get it in the middle of this trailer, or use the boat winch on the front to pull it into the trailer. So I wanted to move this out to give me another 1.5 inches inside this box. Well, the only problem is, you can see those spacers, is I made that frame to go inside the old box, which would be 3/4 of less short on each side, or 1.5 inches. So I just put those 2 spacers in it, and I had to do the same thing up here. Now, since I need the box, I've got to just, I put this in here, I'll paint it later, but I'm so behind on getting the stuff up. I finished this the other day, and today is Saturday the 22nd of November, and I didn't have a camera with me, and I put the hinges on it, and I put the reflector lights on it, and the reflector light on the side. And on the old box, I put this one on the outside and that one on the inside, and I figured it would look better if I had them both on the outside. And the way they cleaned up when I wire brushed them, it's not really a bad side facing out. And now we got to put it on the trailer, and I've got the trailer. We're going to back the trailer up here and put it up here under this sawhorse, because it'll clear here, and then my son and I are going to lift it up and push it on the trailer, and we're going to bring the trailer all the way up inside of here, and I'm going to hook my truck onto it once I get it up in here, and that way it won't move when we push the box onto it. And then there are all the clamps, and we'll clamp it down, and I'll show you something I did to the trailer. This trailer has 2 clamps on the sides, and if you were laying on the ground you could see the mark where the plate on the bottom would have made. And I had 3 clamps across here, and I clamped it down using the hinges before, and this year I didn't think it would be a good idea to do it that way, because that end of the box does rot out early. So I put a saw treated 2 by 4 in there, and I had to cut it down ever so slightly just to get it to slide in there. It's just under 1.5 inches, which would be a 2 by 4. And I put treated screws, number 14 screws, 1 3/4 long, through holes that were already drilled in the back. And since it was already drilled out, and they had 2 in the center, I just put 6 screws in there, or 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. And then when I put the box on here, I can put stove bolts right down through the trailer into this board in like 4 places, maybe 5, and tighten it up from underneath. So anyway, next time you'll see this, it'll be on the trailer. Well, this is what we're planning on doing. That's hooked to the truck so it won't go anywhere, and we're just going to push that box up here until it gets to the line I marked. Well, the box is on the trailer, and we still have to put the clamps on, and that's all. I'm going to start getting up pine needles, and these have regular nuts on them, and My son's going over town and pick up some nylon nuts so they won't back off. These would loosen up and fall off over time. Well, it's mounted and clamped down, and I've been picking up stuff across the street on the riverside, and that is 2 bags worth, and the riverside is done about 80%.